Hi everyone, my name is Gavin, and today I'm going to be talking about caffeine, its effects, and the way to maintain a healthy relationship with caffeine itself. So, by a show of hands, how many of you guys have either drank a coffee or a caffeinated beverage like an energy drink in the past 12 hours? So, yes, I've had an energy drink in the past 12 hours too, but as college students, caffeine is a big contributor for our success, whether it's a late night study session or an 8 a.m. pick me up, we all need it. So today I'm going to be talking about the positives and the negative effects of caffeine, signs and symptoms that you may be caffeine dependent, and how to maintain a healthy relationship with caffeine itself. So, as a barista at Dutch Bros, I see firsthand many people who drink caffeine and how it affects. In fact, Villanova did a study and they said the recommended amount of caffeine is less than 200 to 300 milligrams per day. Many college students, however, consume closer to 400 to 500 milligrams per day, which is crazy. So if we look over at this picture here, we can see that a Monster is 160 milligrams per drink. So that is definitely a lot, and it definitely adds up. And even sodas, teas, different things we have, even chocolate bars do have caffeine in them. I do not know what happened to that already. Well, so I'm going to be talking about the positives of caffeine consumption. So the first positive is cognitive performance and concentration. So concentration is, so imagine you were in the study hall and you had an energy drink. It's definitely going to help you lock in a little more and get more done if you have that energy drink. I know I definitely have experienced that. And not only does it affect our concentration or our brain function, it also enhances our physical performance. So a study done by Rodak in 2021, they said the influence of caffeine on the functioning of the muscular and skeletal system is important in sport, mainly because of its ability to improve exercise performance and cognitive functions by the antagonism of ARs, opening RYRS channels, and induction of calcium release. So I know that sounds complicated, but simply put, it blocks receptors in the muscles that help you move more efficiently and more productively. So now let's move into the negatives of caffeine consumption. So the first one is going to be reduced sleep quality. So everyone knows if you have an energy drink too late, you're going to be up way too long. So that can lead to insomnia or even sleep deprivation. This is because a chemical in our brain called adenosine is responsible for making you tired. So whenever you have an energy drink, that caffeine is going to block those receptors. And next, you have the risk of becoming dependent or having withdrawals. And an article by Better Health said, if you're dependent on caffeine and you stop having it, you may experience withdrawal symptoms. And these may include fatigue, persistent headache, sweating, and muscle pain. So now that we've talked about caffeine dependency, let's explore ways that we can maintain a positive relationship with our caffeine intake and not have an addiction. I think it may be doing it. To avoid dependency and maintain a positive relationship with caffeine is 1, to set a daily limit on your caffeine intake, and 2, reduce your intake periodically. So we'll talk more about that. So, setting a daily limit. Due to the difference in individual sensitivity to caffeine, everyone does have a different tolerance. So, it's recommended 200 to 400 milligrams per day, depending on your tolerance, is a good way to avoid excessive consumption. And you can also space out your caffeine intake. So rather than having 2 energy drinks per day, you can either have 1 or you can space them out within a long period of time. I know personally I have had 1 too close together and it definitely throws me off a little bit. So if you give yourself a time, example, no caffeine after 2 p.m., that can prevent dependence and the negative effects of caffeine. and reducing intake periodically. If we take occasional caffeine breaks to reduce our intake gradually, we can prevent a strong dependency. So, for example, if you want to get coffee like normal, you could also try a decaf or half caffeinated option, which would reduce the amount of caffeine that you're intaking. And that will help you maintain your sensitivity to caffeine so it affects your body a little bit differently. Alrighty, and finding that balance. So, due to being around caffeinated beverages, I've definitely had to find a balance within my work day and even school day because I'm always drinking caffeine. So, by setting some limits and incorporating caffeine-free periods, you can also enjoy the advantages without the risks. So if you make mindful decisions, you can also cut back a little bit on your caffeine dependency. So some ways I've found that I can form a balance with my caffeine intake is meditation, exercise, and even an improved sleep schedule, because that will definitely throw you off. So caffeine is a powerful stimulant that boosts focus and energy, but it also has potential risks. So I encourage you to pay attention to how it affects your mind and how it affects your body, and then make decisions on changing your caffeine intake up a little bit. And in college, caffeine can feel like the only way to study or the push to a hard deadline. But next time you reach for that energy drink, I want you to ask yourself, am I in control of my caffeine intake or is it controlling me? Thank you.